Hey, so this is your fast lecture on North and Central Africa. It goes with the reading in chapter 15, section 1. So let's talk you through some of the basic concepts so you know what the hell you're getting yourself into. All right, so the first specific society we're going to talk about in Central Africa are the Efe. And the reason we're going to start here is because, for a really long time, the majority of people living in this region were living in this way. And we are swinging back in time, deep time. It's like before the year 1000, as we actually begin pre-colonial Africa. So let's talk about life before the concept of a state. So the Efe are a hunting-gathering society. These are extant people. They are alive and well, right? Currently still practicing the oldest form of social organization, hunting and gathering on a semi-nomadic, cyclical, seasonal schedule, in Central Africa. All right. So how's the group work? So a respected elder male serves as the group's leader, but leader in big air quotes here. See, families underneath that leadership are 100% free to make their own decisions, right? Like, you don't want to do this thing the band is doing, that's fine. You can go do a different thing. When there are disputes between members, those arguments are settled through through discussion. Instead, there aren't any formal written laws, right? No government, written law tends to not be a thing. So families, though, in stateless societies are organized, here at least, into lineages, right? Like a family line, right? And when disputes happen between lineages, the oldest and most respected people in the lineage would meet and would work things out. These lineages can be patrilineal or matrilineal. Don't confuse that with patriarchal or matriarchal. What it means is lineal is just literally how you trace descent. A lot of these societies are matrilineal, and honestly sensible. It's much easier to tell who someone's mother is. All right, so the way the lineages are bonded together is with the age set system. We'll talk a little bit about how lineage can be used to settle disputes on the next slide, but for a second, let's stick with the age set system. It's an age set. All right. So right now, if you have lived in the same place for a really long time, the chances that somebody in your graduating class went to preschool with you are pretty high, right? So let's carry that idea forward, basically, because an age set is like that, but on steroids, right? So an age set is a bunch of people roughly the same age who go through the stages of life together, right? So they are children together. They all come of age together. They get married at about the same time. They have children at about the same time, basically as a cohort, and they become elders at about the same time, thereby bonding these people together whenever they might be called upon as elders to settle disputes later on. Here, let me show you how the millennial age set the lineal dispute tree works. So this is a pretty standard line of descent. I'm sure you guys have seen one of these before, right? You got the grandparent line, you got the parent line, you got the children line. Now, this works out pretty simple, right? Let's say that, person G and person H are having, a dispute, some drama, some beef, some bullshit happened, okay, whatever. They very simply go and ask parent 3 will settle it, right? So but if person C and D, so person C and person F get into a dispute, well, that would be up to parents 1 and 2 to go sit down, negotiate, right? And then C and F abide by their decision. But what if child F and child G get into it? Well, those people are outside of lineage, are in different lineages, so, even though they're in the same age set, the oldest person in each lineage is called upon to negotiate, and their ruling will stand. Which is a really fascinating way to organize a society. So cool, Beans, now that we've talked through like what the hell is a stateless society, keep that in mind as like you roll through your reading. Your next intro is on Muslim states to like completely shift gears. So, the Muslim states of Northern Africa. All right, so Muhammad died in 632, and when he died, or as he died, when else was he lived? Like Islam was spreading very, very rapidly, right? At that point, Islam had spread across Northwest Africa, and by 670, Islam had spread like all the way to the Atlantic Ocean. African rulers began converting to Islam like in just droves. And yeah, and amongst the first people to convert were the Berbers. Now then, if you're not specifically familiar with this group, if you ever see like those videos of the long chain of camels crossing the Sahara as veiled and decked out men like carrying, well, if it's a historical picture, scimitars, if it's a modern picture, AK-47s, yeah, like, right, making a caravan, those people are the Berbers. That's who they are, right? Rock. And they, like, as a group, are among the very first people in Africa to convert to Islam. All right, so they had a couple of empires that they went ahead and founded. Okay. The Almoravids and the Almohads. Actually, hold up. Let's talk about the Moors for just a second. So you might have heard at one point that the Queen of Spain was black, and that is true, right? Hell yeah, that happened in the Middle Ages. Thing two, and it's because of two groups, both called the Moors, by Europeans. They were in fact distinct empires, the Almohads and the Almoravids, both of which owned big-ass chunks of the Iberian Peninsula now being, you know, what we call like Portugal and Spain. Word. All right, so let's talk about these empires, shall we? So, the Almoravids. In the 11th century, there's this group of like Muslim reformers. They are Berbers, like from the West Sahara, who traveled like all the way across, went on Hajj, right? And they returned with this like Spitfire Imam, Ibn Yasin, whose teaching gathered like this very large flock, right? And he founded the Almoravids, right? So, let's talk about the people who would come and replace them. The Almohads. So, the Almohads conquered the Almoravids Empire. See, they were very different. They were a group of Berber Muslim reformers who believed they were the true Muslims. They, like, took over the Almoravids territory. They also surrounded themselves, like, they also glommed onto a popular Muslim reformer. They were also this wilderness people who took over the city. And their similarities as empires that rose and fell prompted Ibn Khaldun's theories on history. This cycle, this blooming and falling back, was just fully crazy to him. How very similar these empires were to each other. The Almohads would also fall to a group of sturdy people from the wilderness who, yeah. So, this is Khaldun, right? He's one of the most famous historians of all time, and he is the only predictive historian. His theories on cyclical history went on to predict history in the part of the world that he was studying for 600 years after he died. Damn. Anyway, he coined cyclical theory. You have another lecture on that. Yeah, enjoy your reading for 15, section 1. Bye.